Welcome to Finance Career Fridays, where we level up your playbook and polish your pitch. And today, we're turning resumes into interviews. Great traders don't always write great resumes. Let's fix that. And today, we show you how to turn your experience into interviews. Second, recruiter triggers, or what HR really screens for in an ideal candidate. Third, we'll do a mock resume breakdown so you can see what works, what flops, and why. All this so that you can get more interviews and ultimately land that dream job. We break down top-performing resumes from working professionals just like you. When describing your responsibilities and accomplishments, focus on the outcomes and the impact you had. Now let's continue. For example, instead of saying, "I was responsible for executing trades," say, "I executed trades resulting in a 15% increase in profits." According to Glassdoor, soft skills make up about 35% of the hiring decision. Let's start with this resume from John, a self-taught trader who wants to work at a hedge fund. At first glance, there's a lot to like about John's resume. It's well formatted and easy to read, and he's listed the tools that he uses. He's an institutional trader who's looking for a new challenge. David's resume is a bit of a mixed bag. On the one hand, he's included the tools that he uses and he's quantified his achievements. On the other hand, his resume is missing a few key components. First, his summary is too long. It's difficult to quickly understand what makes David unique as a trader. Second, David hasn't focused on the outcome, not the duty. For example, instead of saying "I executed trades," he could say "I executed trades resulting in a 10% increase in profits." To improve David's resume, I would suggest that he shortens his summary and that he focuses on outcomes, not duties. But there are a few things that could be improved. First, his summary is too short. It doesn't really tell me anything about him as a trader. And he hasn't quantified his achievements. For example, instead of saying "I generated a profit," he could say "I generated a 15% return on investment." To improve John's resume, I would suggest that he expands on his summary and that he quantifies his achievements whenever possible. That's because employers want to make sure that you lines be a good fit for the company culture. She's a professional sports bettor who's looking for a new opportunity. Like John's resume, Mary's resume is well formatted and easy to read. She's also included a section that lists her areas of expertise. However, Mary's resume is missing a few key components. First, she hasn't included the tools that she uses. This is a missed opportunity to show that she is proficient in the tools that are commonly used in the industry. Second, Mary hasn't quantified her achievements. For example, instead of saying "I won money," she could say "I won an average of $2,000 per month." By making these changes, Mary can improve her chances of getting an interview. So be sure to highlight your soft skills on your resume. One way to do this is by including a section on your resume that lists your key skills. In this section, be sure to include both hard skills and soft skills. And don't forget to include any relevant certifications or licenses. If you're unsure which soft skills to include on your resume, take a look at the job description. Often the employer will list the desired soft skills in the qualification section. By focusing on outcomes, you'll be able to make a stronger case for why you should be hired. Some examples include managed, led, developed, and achieved. Using strong action verbs on your resume can help you stand out from the competition, and it shows that you're a results-driven individual. When scanning resumes, hiring managers and recruiters often use active voice and action verbs to quickly understand the candidate's experience and accomplishments. So to incorporate action verbs into your resume, simply replace any weak verbs like responsible for or assisted with stronger action verbs like managed or led. So if you're ready to take your career to the next level, let's get started. In this episode, we'll cover 3 things. First, resume principles, especially for those of you who are new to trading. And in the context of resumes, these are often keywords, action verbs, and phrases that signal to HR that you have what it takes to be successful in the role. Let's start with ATS keywords. Applicant Tracking Systems, or ATSs, are software programs that companies use to manage their recruitment process. Many ATSs use natural language processing, or NLP, to screen resumes for certain keywords. For example, if the job description includes the keyword Python, the ATS may only forward resumes that include the keyword Python to the hiring manager. To identify the right keywords for your resume, take a look at the job description and try to match as many of the keywords as possible. You can also use a resume building website or tool to help you identify keywords. One free way to find keywords is to search for your target job on LinkedIn. Look through the titles and summaries of people who have positions similar to the one you're retargeting and make a note of any common keywords. Once you have a list of keywords, be sure to sprinkle them throughout your resume, especially in your summary, work experience, and skills sections. As a career coach, I help technical professionals land their dream jobs. And over the years, I found that there are certain rules that always hold true when it comes to writing standout resumes, so be sure to list them out on your resume. This will signal to hiring managers that you're proficient in the tools they use and that your lines be able to hit the ground running. Here's a quick list of some of the most popular trading tools and platforms. Be sure to include as many of these as possible on your resume, especially the ones that are relevant to the position you're applying for. Number 1. Quantify your achievements. Use numbers to showcase your impact. For example, instead of saying, "I managed accounts," say, "I managed $10 million in assets under management." Or instead of saying, "I made a profit," say, "I generated a 20% return on investment." The bottom line is this: hiring managers want to know what kind of impact you can have on their business. And the best way to do that is by quantifying your achievements. This is why I was pleased to see that all of our featured candidates in this episode did well in this category. Number 2. List the tools that you use. If you've been trading for any amount of time, you probably used a variety of different tools and platforms. And number 3. Focus on outcomes, not duties. Before we move on to recruiter triggers, I want to share this message from our sponsor. Recruiter triggers are the things that HR screens for in an ideal candidate. The second recruiter trigger is action verbs. Action verbs are words that describe what you did in your previous roles. Third, soft skills. Soft skills are personal attributes that make you a good fit for the company culture. Some examples include teamwork, communication, and problem solving. Now that we've covered resume principles and recruiter triggers, it's time to take a look at a sample resume and see what works and what flops. Overall, these are just a few tips to help you write a great resume. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Finance Career Friday. Your next role starts with the right words, polish your pitch, and will power up more next Friday.